Okay, David, you done? Okay, so have you run it? You have the same results as we have. You said? Okay. Okay, so when you save it, you run it, you should have the same result. Okay, your screen is blank. Okay, try to restart it. So you can use this green button to restart it. Okay. Okay, maybe it's because you haven't run it yet. You should have that button there if the app is currently running. So try to run it again. Maybe it must have stopped. Yeah, try to run the app again. So go to your main and then try to run it from here. So you should run it again and then yeah, you should see you should have the same results. How about Evans? Evans, you have the same results as I have?
Yes, sir. The only problem is I'm currently emulating with Chrome, as you are aware.
Okay, that's fine. But is the same is the same view, right? You have the same button and the profile.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, right, okay. Okay, check. Is there any red line? Do you have any red line? Okay, where do you have the red line? Just tell me the area. In the app bar, that is here. Okay, where in the app bar do you have the red line? Or if you're on the call, you can share your screen quickly. Let me see what you have. You're on the call, right, David? All right, so share your screen. Let's see where the error is coming from. It would also help every other person to learn actually. So just quickly share your screen. Let's see what you have. I'll show you. You're sharing your entire screen, so you can see what you have. Okay, so your app bar. Okay, it must have to do with the closing, most likely the closing parentheses, and you also don't have anything for your for your home. Yeah, you did not add the scaffold. Yeah, you didn't add the scaffold. Yeah, we have a scaffold, but you didn't add a scaffold before the app bar. Okay, so what you can do is just this your app bar you have there. You can see where my cursor is, right? Yeah, so select this your app bar up till this closing parenthesis here. So just select it so you can cut that one out first of all. Yes, so cut it out, Ctrl X. Okay, so remove that app bar. Remove that app bar property you have there. So remove it. Okay. Remove this closing parenthesis. Okay. All right. Let me see. You just have the material app. Okay. Material app. Okay. So go to your home and then add the scaffold, just as we have the scaffold here. So type the scaffold first of all. So scaffold. Yes, that one. You can press enter to select it. All right. So in there now, type the app bar property. So add the app bar property. Or specify yes app bar. You can press enter to bring it out. So press enter. Okay. So now you can paste what you cut out earlier. So Ctrl V. So paste what you cut out earlier. Okay. Remove that extra comma at the end. You can see there's an extra comma on line 24. No, not that one. Press Ctrl Z to bring it back. Yes, so go inside the parent. You can see there are two commas. You have a parent. Yes, awesome. So now, all right, so I don't think there are any errors there. So you can format the code. So press Shift Alt F, or you can right click. You can right click and then choose. Okay, awesome. So it has formatted it. So this is what you were meant to have. So you can try to run this now. So run this now, and it should run fine for you. Okay, so you can. Okay, so it's running. Okay, awesome. So once it runs in, you should have the same results that we have. All right, great. So let's continue. All right, so this is where we are. All right, so now in trying to build this, for this, we're going to work on, oh, yeah, let me share my screen. Let me share my screen so everyone can see. All right, I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can see it now.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, so now in trying to build this, so you can see that what we have here, we have all of this content. We have all of this content inside of a kind of material. Okay, a kind of material that is raised from the surface of the screen. Okay, I'm referring to this section. Yeah, I'm referring to this. That is this section where we have this blue color, the image and everything. So you can see it is on top of a kind of material that is raised from the surface of the screen. Now, there is a widget which we can use for that in Flutter, okay? Because we need to add all this contents on top of that material that would be raised from the surface of the screen, okay? Now, to do that, we need to use a card, okay? We need to use a card for that. There is a card widget, okay? There is a card widget in Flutter which we can use. Okay, there's a card widget in Flutter. So for that, now after the app bar, okay, this is where the app bar ends. The app bar begins here. That is for the app bar property. This is the app bar widget. It begins here and ends here. Okay, where we have this closing parentheses. One thing that VS Code would also help you do is to add a comment. This is more like a comment at the end of it, just to make it clear to you that this is where the app bar ends. So the app bar begins here and ends here. You can see when I place my cursor in front of it, it also highlights the closing parentheses. It will do the same thing for the scaffold. If I place it here, the scaffold begins here and ends here. Same thing for the material app. Material app begins here and ends here, like this. Okay? The material app begins here and ends here. Okay, so now for this, for us to add this section, we need to add a new property. We need to introduce a new property for the scaffold. The only property we have so far actually is the app bar. In the scaffold, we've only specified the app bar. So there are other properties which the scaffold has. So if we go down, you can see that I'm still inside of the scaffold. If I press Control and space, then I get to see the other properties which the scaffold has. Now I can see we have this body. Okay, we have this body. So we have this body. Now this body basically refers to everything we have other than the app bar. So you can say from this point down, 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 everywhere. So other than the app bar, every other space or area we have in here in this scaffold is the body. Okay, so for the body, that is where we want to put in this content, which we are going to start with a card. So we can have this material that is raised from the surface. Sorry, I think I pushed that away. Okay. All right. So for that, for the body, we are going to use a card like this. So a card is a widget in Flutter, like I said. So now this card widget, from what you can see here, you can see that the card widget is basically what contains all this contents. The card widget contains all that content. So you could say it is wrapping all of them. So that is why for you to put something inside of the card, you have to use the child property. So the card has a child property. So as you can see, that child property takes a widget. Okay, the child property takes a widget. So to the child property, we will specify this content. We're going to specify or pass all this content to the child property. Now we're going to start with this top container. Okay, this blue container. That's what we'll start with. Okay, so for that blue container, there is a container widget in Flutter that we can use to get this kind of look. There's a container widget. So we'll pass container. So there's a container widget. Now to the container widget also has a child property, but we don't really want to use the child. Instead, what we want to specify here is the height and after the height, we want to also specify the width. Okay, so we want to specify the height and the width. So the height and the width. Then we also want to set the color for the container. So we want to also set the color. So let's start with the height. So for the height, I want to set the height to, let's say, 200. The height refers to how tall the container would be. Okay, so I'll set that to 200. Then for the width, I want to set the width to, let's say, 400 for now. While for the color, I'll just use colors dot blue. So if I save this, awesome. So you can see what we have there. We have this blue container. Now the width is what determines the size right now. So for example, if I reduce the height to 100, you see it will get the smaller height. Awesome. So you can see it's now smaller like this, just as you can see there. But let's maybe leave it at 150. 150 should be okay. Yeah, we can leave it at 150. Then for the width, now I can also reduce the width to maybe 300. If I save this, you can see how small the container is. So this is the container widget in Flutter. And you get to use the container widget a lot, okay? Because most of the time you want to have a shape which you can then create or design or style to look however you want, which is what we're going to do with this our own container, okay? So we have the container there, but you can see that I want the container to get to the very edge of the screen. So I want it to take I want to take up the full width. So let it take up the full width of the screen. Now for that, what I'm going to do, instead of setting the width to a fixed value of 300, there is a special way we can tell this container to stretch and take up the full width of the screen. So for that, there is a special value we use, which is double.infinity, like this. So this double.infinity is a special value we use when we want to say this container should stretch and take up the full width of the screen or of the card. In this case, it will be of the card. So if we save this, awesome. So now you can see the container is taking up the full width of the card. Okay. Now, before we continue, of course, we are not using the exact color here, but we are going to eventually get what we would use for this actually. Now, before we continue, you can see that this is our card. The way it is being positioned or the way it is laid out here, we have some space around it. Okay, you can see there's some space around the card. So we need to add that same space to our own card. So how do we add that space? Now, the way to add the space, if we inspect, let's check the properties which the card has. If there is any way for us to add that space around the card. Well, we can see that the card has color That is when you want to specify the color for the card. The card has shape. It has this shadow color. Now we have this margin. Now this margin is what we actually want, because margin is how you specify space around some content also, or a widget. So you use margin to add space around your content or your widget. So for the card now, I'm going to use the margin property. Now we can see what we need to pass to the margin property. The margin property takes a special value, which is this edge inset geometry. So for that, the value which we pass to margin is, you don't just pass a value like maybe 10 or 20. No, this is not how you specify it. Instead, we use edge inset dot something. So we specify how do we want this margin to be applied. We want the margin on all sides, that is all around the card, or from different sides, maybe different values on different sides, left, top, right, bottom, from view padding, or only on a particular side, or want to use this symmetric style, where we get to specify the same amount of padding on just the left or the right, just like so. So the one I want to use right now, I want to actually use this, I want to use this symmetric, okay? We can use this symmetric, and what we can do with this symmetric is we can specify some amount of padding on the vertical side, that is the left and the right. Then, sorry, the top and the bottom rather, that's for the vertical side. Then for the horizontal side, it would be the left and the right. Okay, so the same amount of padding can be specified top and bottom for vertical, or horizontal left and right. So in there, we can set the vertical. Let's do vertical first. For vertical, let me see, how much padding do we have? How much margin do we have here? Okay, maybe we can use, let's try 20, or let me make that 30 actually. Then for the horizontal side, we can use 20, like this. Okay, we can use 20. So if I save this, awesome. So you can see what we have now. So you see how we have that space around this our card. Okay, so this is what we want. Now, in the next class, we're going to continue from here and eventually add this image for the person, and then add this other content in the next class. All right, so I'll give you some time to type this out, yeah, before we end it for today. Okay, so any questions on what we've covered so far? From our people online, any questions? Okay, are you done? Okay. Is everyone done with the code? Evans,
Not yet, sir.
Usas?
Not yet, sir. Not yet, sir.
Okay. Okay, right. Okay.
Sir, please, can I share my screen? I don't know. I'm trying to
Okay, all right. Yes, you can. You can share. Let me stop sharing so you can
Observe
share this.
where I'm running into problems. Can I go ahead, sir?
Yes, you can. You can share your screen.
For some reason, I'm running into problems. I'm seeing 9 errors. I don't know if you can hear me, sir.
Yes, I can hear you. I can see your screen as well.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, let me see what you have. Okay. You have the child for the card, the container. Okay, it seems as though you have too many brackets. Wait, I'll remove that. Let me see. Okay, no. Yeah, go to the top. On that, your line 21. It seems as though you added an extra closing parenthesis. So yeah, remove that extra one. Yeah, remove one of them.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Now you have the child, the container, which ends there. You have the card, and you have the material app. Okay, it seems as though you still have an extra one at the bottom. So remove the one on line 30. Remove that's extra. The one on line 30. Yeah, remove that. Just remove what you have on line 30. Remove the closing parentheses on line 30. Yeah, remove it. No, have you removed it? Remove it.
Yes, I
Okay,
have.
awesome. All right.
Thank
Okay,
you,
so
sir.
you can see the error is gone. Yeah, so it
Yes,
was
sir.
just the extra parentheses. Yeah, you mistakenly added. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
you're welcome. So it's okay. It's okay to make these mistakes for now. Yeah, as you progress in the course, you'll get more comfortable in typing out a Flutter code like this, because you must have begun to observe how we tend to wrap widgets with other widgets. So it's actually called widget composition. So you compose widgets together. That is how you build your Flutter UI. Okay, so it's a gradual process, and you get to master how to write your Flutter code just like this. Okay. All right. So you have a
Thank you,
question,
sir.
David? Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. If you want to reduce the elevation, well, it's to reduce the value. Yeah, you can reduce the value. If you don't want to have any elevation, you can set it to 0. Then there will be no elevation. So how much elevation you set is what to data. You can see now it is gone. There's no elevation there anymore. Yeah. So how much elevation you set, yeah, is what to determine how the app bar would actually, how much it will be raised on the surface of the screen. So the elevation is what controls that. Let me bring it back. Okay. All right. Okay, well, there's not really an elevation for the body itself, but for the fact that we're using a card right now for the body, that means this card widget also has an elevation property, which you can set to use to specify how raised the card should be from the surface of the screen. For example, if we set elevation here, we can set this to maybe 30. We save this, see how raised, you can see how raised it is now. It's almost as if that blue container is floating. Yeah, so that is how raised it is right now, because we've set elevation to 30. Okay, so let me leave it at the default. Okay, so it has gone back to the default. All right, so you can take your time even after the class now to play around with all these properties. Try to change some of them and then see the results that you would get. Okay, just so that you can still practice all of this property and value settings for a widget. Okay. All right. So thank you very much, everyone. So it will be to our next class. That will be on Monday. Okay, so Monday. On Monday, there is a book I'm going to share with you. It is a book on the Dart programming language. Yeah, so you can get to also go through that book gradually on the side, whilst we are doing what you're doing in class, just to still have that as for reference and to get to learn more on the Dart programming. Okay, all right. So it's a bit till Monday then. All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for today. Do have a great day, sir.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome.